So first off, Gary Yourofsky has returned to animal rights activism, and I just want to say that's a miracle, regardless of the controversy that's going on. Gary Yourofsky posted some videos talking about Palestine, and he made some pretty unfair claims, I would say. And he also made a claim that
Palestinians are the most psychotic group of people on the planet. One struggle, one fight, animal liberation. Fuck human rights.
just F human rights altogether. Don't speak about human rights, speak only about animal rights. I want to pay some lip service and say that about 4 or 5 years ago, I made a video publicly defending Gary Yourofsky against black vegans during the time of the George Floyd death. His wife actually acknowledged that video. I'm sure that Gary Yourofsky even probably remembers, if he saw this video, that was me that did that. I posted that video. They were out saying that Gary was a racist. I was out saying that Gary isn't a racist. Gary has done great things, and he's even sacrificed his own freedom for the animals. He's been arrested for animal rights, something that a lot of people haven't have done. So he's a great activist. He is a great person, but in my opinion, this is where he went wrong. So with the claims on Palestine being a violent nation, right? Do you know that many Palestinian people? Have you met any people from Gaza specifically? Why is it fair for you to make that claim that they are the violent nation? Or do you just have some sort of bias with Israel because you have Israeli fans, or maybe you have a couple friends from Israel? I don't know if he's involved with just the brainwash from Ask Yourself, Avi and Vegan Gains, that little square. But if so, then that's where he's sourcing his information on the conflict in Palestine. Then that's just an assumption for me. I just don't like the fact that he made an assumption based off just what's said online or what's said by other vegans close to him. Other vegans who aren't even looking at the situation from a fair standpoint. Where you also went wrong. You can't just go out and say F human rights when it was in fact your race that went to another country and enslaved an entire other race. And maybe even you or your ancestors before you have benefited from that. And undoubtedly, there ain't no maybe. I take it back. No maybe. You or your ancestors undoubtedly have benefited from the slavery of black people, whether it was a little bit or a lot. You did, but it may have been your ancestors' fault. But don't you think you even have the slightest obligation to speak on black rights just here and there? I'm okay with activists speaking on just animal rights because they need a voice. They need a big voice like Gary Yourofsky, right? But the approach you should have took was that, yes, it's necessary to speak about animal rights. But I personally am going to only lend my voice to animals because I think that's what's fairest for the animals. It would not have hurt for Gary to put it that way and just leave it at that. But when you go out like this and you say it like this,
Fuck human rights.
it's just not something that we expect from a big voice and someone who we see as vegans and animal rights activists as a huge inspiration. That's just not the way you should speak publicly. You're just asking for that type of feedback when you do that. As far as my opinion on Gary Yourofsky, I still support him. I still support his activism. But I know that Gary Yourofsky has an open mind, and I know he would look back at something like this and say, okay, I made a mistake. You don't just go out and say things like that when you are, in fact, the majority. You are, in fact, and you've acknowledged in your video, that video is still on his page, by the way, when he comes out and he speaks about the false accusations calling him racist. I know that Gary isn't a racist. I've seen his video that he made, 4 years ago. I appreciate him putting that video out. I think for sure that he did see my video of me calling out vegan street fare for publicly accusing and falsely accusing him of being racist. And that's why he made that post claiming that
Black lives matter. When compared to whites, white people suck.
So you heard it from Gary Yourofsky yourself. I appreciate him for putting that video out. He's a good man. I genuinely believe that, but the way he handled a situation with just the speaking about Gaza was absolutely terrible. During the time that Trump just got back in the office, now more than ever before, it's definitely important to speak about human rights because he's trying to take rights away from everyone. He's trying to cut aid away from certain people, a certain group of people. He's trying to and has already succeeded in taking away abortions from women. And he's also trying to erase black history from schools. He's trying to deport and is actively deporting and imprisoning people, undocumented people. But again, these aren't the people who are shooting schools in America and things of that sort. So now more than ever, it's really hurtful to say that we don't need to speak about animal rights. It's just, in my opinion, not an obligation to speak about human rights only when you become an animal rights activist. Now, that's what I don't like, and that's what I know what a lot of these the anti-intersectional people like. But it's not it's not intersectional versus anti-intersectional. It's just be consistent with your actions. See, these people think that once you become an animal rights activist, it automatically becomes essential for you to speak on human rights. But it wasn't essential before. Oh, wait, but maybe it's not essential also for those human rights activists to speak on animal rights. That's where the anti-intersectional vegans get mad and say F human rights. But that's counterproductive in itself. We just have to be smart and see the bigger picture of it all. So I hope Gary Yourofsky maybe sees my opinion on this one. I hope Gary Yourofsky remembers me in general. I like Gary Yourofsky. I like his work. I would continue to defend him, but on the Palestine comment, it was very unprofessional. It's something that I can't get behind because there are, in fact, children, innocent children. They don't know what's going on. They're starving to death. They're being bombed. And for you to just say that Palestine, Gaza, they're violent, you never met any of them, you've never been there, it's really unfair and it's very unprofessional. But other than that, I hope Gary can review some of these things and open heart and open mind and maybe make some comments about them. But regardless, that's just my whole opinion on the whole Gary Yourofsky drama that's going on now. And it's pretty disappointing to see, but all in all, I just hope to see more activism from him. All in all, I'm just happy to see that a good voice like that is back for the animals, but not in this particular fashion. It's just online chaos now.